Industry Minister to introduce airlines seeking to regulate price of cement today in Parliament following boycott of engagement with some manufacturers. Meanwhile, minority vows to boycott the vetting of Deputy Minister Designate for Trade and Industry. We're live to Parliament in a tad bit. Also, Plastic Manufacturers Association threatened to demonstrate on July 10 over 5% excise tax. And later on the international front, patients flee Khan Yunis European Gaza Hospital as Israeli forces strike South Gaza. We have details of these and many others all in the 60 Minutes package. To stay tuned in. Hello again. We begin from the House of Legislature as the minority has indicated that they will not participate in the vetting of the Deputy Minister Designate for Trade and Industry. According to them, President Akufo-Addo's nomination suggests his lack of appreciation of the economic mess that his government has unleashed on Ghanaians as a result of its bad economic policies. We are again unable to support this nomination by President Akufo-Addo at this time because our country has gone through and continues to go through very difficult periods, including crippling economic crisis, food insecurity, debt default as a result of excessive borrowing, corruption in government, and wasteful and reckless expenditures. With ordinary Ghanaians going through excruciating hardships and businesses relocating from Ghana as a result of the high tax regime created by the Akufo-Addo government, one would have expected that the president will downsize his already large government. The minority leader Ato Forson stated. He continued, this would have sent a signal to the people that the president was mindful of the economic realities and was willing to do things differently to restore the needed confidence in Ghana's economy. Meanwhile, the Minister for Trade and Industry, Hammond, popularly known as KT Hammond, has revealed that he will introduce the legislative instrument seeking to regulate pricing of cement in the country in Parliament today following boycott of a meeting by the manufacturers. Despite heavy resistance by manufacturers, a meeting scheduled to address concerns was boycotted due to the presence of the media yesterday. Representatives from Gasem, Dangote, CBI, Simaf and Diamond Cement expressed shock that the minister had invited the media without their knowledge in the meeting scheduled to be held behind closed doors. According to the Adansiasqua MP, efforts to get the manufacturers to come to the negotiation table have proved futile as you make efforts to lay the LI today.
I'm clear in my mind. I've done enough consultation. I'm clear in my mind. I've given them enough opportunity to put on the table what the ideas are for us to sanitize the system. It seems to be that it is their way or no other way. I think your expression is their way or the highway. I don't intend to accept any such attitude. So here we are. God willing, tomorrow I will make the effort officially to lay my LI. And this LI is seeking to regulate the pricing of cement in the country. I think it is atrocious to have a situation where every blessed minute there is increase in the prices of cement. It was briefed that there is this gossip among them that the minister was tweetless. He couldn't do anything. They could run amok and do whatever they wanted to do. Indeed, the whole concept has been subjected to a massive ridicule. I wasn't going to sit here and look on for the cement manufacturing industries to take the country for a ride. I think there is an attempt to establish a cabal. I think there is an attempt to establish an oligarchy, a complete oligarchy, to manipulate the system. In the process, the good people of Ghana are being shortchanged. I'm not going to sit down for this.
So that's the voice of Trade and Industry Minister Hammond, popularly known as Katie Hammond. Let's head to Parliament and find out what's happening there. Parliamentary Affairs correspondent Ibrahim Alassan joins me. Ibrahim, good morning to you. Has business in the House started, as usual?
Well, no, of course. Typical of Tuesdays and Thursdays. Dr. Kesela Tofos, the minority leader, has date in court. And so, sitting, I will not begin until he and his charges have been dispatched from Parliament by the presiding, from the court by the presiding judge. But of course, there are other things that will occupy the attention of Parliament today before that date where Akufo-Addo and co leave Parliament for the House Camp. One of them is the vetting of Deputy Minister for Trade and Industry, Mr. Ausemafu, which has started as I speak to you. But of course, to speak to you directly about the LI, what I can tell you is that, yes, it's on the other paper, and by way of education on LIs, legislative instruments are not like bills of Parliament, which will be laid, referred to committee, a report is prepared, the report is then presented to the plenary, and the I's are dotted, and then the T's are crossed, amendments are taken, and subsequently these bills are passed, and then they receive presidential assent, then they become laws. This is different. If Katie Hammond is able to lay the LI today, all it takes is 21 sitting days for this LI to mature. Once it matures, it will be gazetted, and then automatically it becomes a law that is enforceable. But of course, there are some impediments on the way of Katie Hammond, not just from the cement manufacturers, but also from the minority. I've just engaged the deputy ranking member for the Finance Committee, Richard Champon, who is questioning the priority of government. He talks about the fact that the number one driver of the price of cement is depreciation of the local currency. So if government has anything whatsoever to do about regulating the price of cement, then it should be government putting the dollar in check and checking depreciation of the local currency. He talks about the fact that since the players in the industry boycotted a meeting with the sector minister, then it means the sector minister has lost legitimacy, and that Katie Hammond is not fit to hold office as Minister for Trade and Industry. But of course, like I said, this is dancing outside the chamber. When Katie Hammond attempts laying the LI, of course, by the way, the position of the minority is that it's a no, no, no. And that's the minority caucus. But if Katie Hammond succeeds in laying this LI and it takes 21 days to mature, all the minority can do is to make the noise because it cannot get to just majority to overturn this particular LI or to reject it. What it means that there's a need for further engagement. And if the majority side does not side with the minority side on this, the LI will be laid, the sector players will make the noise as they are doing, but then the LI after 21 days will mature and it become a law that is enforceable. Lily?
We understand that there's supposed to be a scheduled meeting between the Trades Committee and some cement manufacturers. Have you gotten any information on that?
Yeah, describe it as lobbying and you'll be absolutely right. So it's not an official meeting because as we speak, because the select committee on appointment is vetting a deputy minister designate for the trade and industry. By the new standing orders, the leadership of the committee on trade and industry is expected to be part of this particular vetting process. And so there is no official meeting between the cement manufacturers and then the Trades Committee of Parliament. But what we understand is that indeed they are in Parliament, they are lobbying whoever can be lobbied for the rejection of this particular LI. Really.
Okay, Ivy, we'll leave it here for now. But you mentioned that the vetting is ongoing. And so since minority is not in the chamber, does it also suppose that they are not at the vetting committee?
No, they are not there. And as you read before I came on, they actually issued a statement that they are boycotting at the vetting of this deputy minister. Of course, you can say it's in line with the position of the minority that they will not do business in the House anytime their leader shows up in court. But then also they had the argument that they will not assist the president to overly populate its government, especially given the economic crisis that the country finds itself in. Really.
All right, Ibrahim, we'll leave it here for now. I'll come to you subsequently for more. That's Ibrahim Alassan. He's our Parliamentary Affairs correspondent. Let's move on. The Africa Center for Digital Transformation has issued a warning about potential cyber threats that may impact the integrity and security of the 2024 elections. With digital transformation increasingly influencing electoral processes, the risk of cyber attacks has become a critical concern that demands urgent attention and comprehensive strategies, according to the ACDT. In 2016, Ghana faced cyber attacks on the Electoral Commission's website during the elections, leading to temporary shutdowns. The EC acknowledged the attack, but stated that it did not affect the integrity of the election results. Similarly, during the 2020 elections, Ghana also experienced a significant number of cyber threats targeting the electoral process. These included attempts to hack the EC systems and other government websites. Now, the National Communications Authority, the NCA, and the Cybersecurity Authority worked to mitigate these threats, ensuring the elections proceeded without major disruptions. Cyber attacks during elections in West Africa have been a growing concern, with several notable incidents reported in recent years. For the various political parties in Ghana, a breach of election systems may trigger collateral effects on public institutions, the commercial victory of political parties, and of course, influence domestic interests and foreign policy relationships. It is for this reason that the Africa Center for Digital Transformation has called for a concerted effort from all stakeholders to enhance cyber defense mechanisms and ensure the protection of the electoral process this year. Let's discuss this issue further. Divine S.K. Agbeti is the head of advanced at the Africa Center for Digital Transformation, and he joins us via Zoom. Mr. Agbeti, good morning to you, and thank you very much for agreeing to speak to us here on Newsroom.
Good morning. Good morning to all listeners and viewers.
Now, you cite two critical elections, the 2016 elections and the 2020 elections. If what we saw with the voter registration exercise is anything to go by, does it suggest that the Electoral Commission learned from whatever attacks that it experienced in 2016 and in 2020?
Thank you. I do not want to believe that the Electoral Commission has learned anything from the 2016 or 2020, even though in 2020 we were told that they did everything they could to bolster their technology systems to prevent any form of attacks. But as we can remember, in 2016, there was a DDoS attack, or what we call distributed denial of service attack. And that actually disrupted the EC's dissemination of information. And actually, it made the whole process very slow in 2016. And announcing the result was quite critical to that effect. Now, as we approach our 2024 elections, these threats are still coming up because everybody knows that this election is very critical in the country. Both parties, especially both leading parties. In fact, we shouldn't even think about these parties involved. We also have other individuals. For example, we have cyber criminals who would want to hold the whole election to ransom. So they probably are preparing ransomware attacks on these elections. So this is why we would want the EC to prepare and invest into these technologies to ensure that its staffs or the staff of the Electoral Commission are properly trained, and everyone who will be working on the election should be trained, especially to avoid clicking links in order to prevent what we call phishing attacks from their end. So we are believing that we needed to, or we believe that we needed to alert the EC and the whole public over this cyber threat so that the country will prepare and make sure that we have a very smooth election without any delays.
But what ways are our cyberspace, or is our cyberspace under threat, especially during electioneering period?
So they use cyber criminals or adversaries use very simple techniques. First of all, they use what they call phishing. And this one, they can target election officials, political parties, and voters. And what they do is they aim to steal sensitive information, such as login credentials and personal data. And with this, then they can have access to unauthorized election systems, or they can have unauthorized access to election systems where they are able to manipulate information from that system. This happened, for example, in 2016 within the United States elections. Phishing attacks were used to gain access to emails of the Democratic National Committee, and that is where sensitive information were actually discovered and used against the Democratic Party in the US, for example. And another form of attack would be the DDoS, as we spoke about. And the DDoS attacks can overwhelm an online election portal, for example, and it makes the elections unavailable, or the election data unavailable to officials. And that is the second one. The third one is the ransomware attacks. And the ransomware can encrypt the critical election data, and it renders it inaccessible unless a ransom is paid. And this is critical because 99% this is not going to come from the New Patriotic Party, or it's not going to come from the NDC. It's going to come from an individual or a cyber gang or a criminal gang who wants to make money out of these elections. So we need to really watch out for such. And then I think another one we also need to look at, for example, is disinformation campaigns.
Why?
If we remember, in 2016, they used disinformation campaigns a lot, especially if we remember just a little clip going around with the Papano, and a lot of false information, false news, fake news going around about the whole thing, and it really disrupted elections around that time. So disinformation campaigns can also be part of this, and this really also occurred in Kenya also in 2017 elections. So using social media and platforms, and then to flood them with fake news, etc. So the Electoral Commission and then all the authorities involved should look out for these threats and work towards them.
So for me as a member of the media, for my brother who is a member of the general public, what roles do we play in safeguarding our cyberspaces?
Thank you. The first thing you should do is avoid clicking links. That is the first thing you should do. When someone sends you an email or a text message with a link, you need to double sure. Ask the person, what link is it? Did you prepare this yourself? What is it about? Be sure of it before you access the link. The second thing you should do is secure your technology systems. For example, those of us who work in very sensitive environments, such as the Electoral Commission, we should always make sure that before we leave our screens, the screen is locked. You don't leave it open for anybody or a colleague to have access to it, and stop sharing passwords.
Wow.
Sharing passwords also do not help, because then it may get into the hands of the wrong person, and that person may use that same password to access information. And also adding multiple layers of security, such as multi-factor authentication. Even on our WhatsApp that we use on a daily basis, if you don't use MFA or multi-factor authentication on it, someone can just trick you, and if you are easily deceived, then you're going to accept a code or give them a code back, and they have access to your WhatsApp, or they take over the entire WhatsApp, and then they can use it for what they want. So these are some of the ways we can actually work as everyday users of technology to prevent, or as our responsibility to help prevent any form of cyber attacks.
Okay, Mr. Agweti, thank you very much. We'll leave it here for now. We appreciate your time. That's Divine Agbeti. He's the head of advisory at the Africa Center for Digital Transformation. Let's talk about Ghana's population now, where Ghana's population has crossed the 33 million mark and is expected to reach 52,470,000 by 2050. This is according to latest projections by the Ghana Statistical Service. Ghana's population at the end of 2021 population and housing census was pegged at 30.8 million, but the Statistical Service says between 2021 and 2030, 711,706 persons will be added to the population each year. Here is Deputy Government Statistician in charge of Social and Population Statistics, Dr. Faustina Frimpong Aingwa.
In 2024, projected population figure for Ghana is 33,007,618. And then we have slightly, males will be 16.27, and then females 16.73 million people. And then we are saying that on average, between 2021 and 2030, 711,706 additional people will be added to the number that we have between this period. And we also say that the change between 2024 and 2021 is about 1.07 times. Our professor did release that the 2021 population and housing census gave us 30.832019 human beings in 2021. That is actual. In the projected, 2030 will give us 37.24 million, 2040, 44.47 million, and 2050, 52.47 million.
Moving on, the leadership of the National Democratic Congress is set to meet with the Central Regional Executives of the party for the withdrawal of its parliamentary candidate for Assin Central, Shaibu Mijima. The embattled candidate has also been suspended after he was found guilty for immoral act and anti-party activities by the Central Regional Functional Executive Committee. Shaibu was accused of allegedly impregnating the wife of the party's Assin Central Constituency Secretary, prompting the disciplinary action. My colleague Abdul Hanan Adam has been monitoring developments and joins us via Zoom from the national headquarters of the NDC here in Accra. Hanan, good afternoon to you. What more can you share this time?
Well, Lily, the regional executives led by the regional chairman of the central region of the NDC are expected here at the party headquarters from 12:30 p.m., where they are expected to answer questions regarding the issue you just raised. So the regional executives, together with the regional functional executive committee of the party, took the decision to suspend and withdraw the candidature of Shaibu Mijima, who is the parliamentary candidate for the party for the 2024 elections in the Assin Central Constituency. He was accused for immoral acts, and then which, of course, is the impregnation or alleged impregnation of the constituency secretary. So a letter summoning the regional chairman together with all the regional executives indicates that that decision that was taken is in contravention of the party's constitution, which clearly states that Article 40, 41, 46, and 48 of the constitution stipulates how the regional executives were supposed to handle the matter. But unfortunately, they didn't do so, which is to the effect that they ought to have sought the advice of the national party, which they didn't. So that actually came as a surprise to the party. So the General Secretary actually wrote to the chairman and other regional executives of the party to come here today and explain why they took that decision. But I contacted a number of functional executive committee members of the party who are saying that that matter today is to, first of all, understand what the issues are, ask questions regarding that particular issue before a decision is being made. But then the party would not actually admit as fact that Mijima should be suspended and should not represent the party in the 2024 elections as its parliamentary candidate. because if he's suspended, it means that the party will have to replace him as a parliamentary candidate. And with that, because elections is just about less than 6 months to go, it will take time. And the other concern is that if he's maintained after this meeting as the parliamentary candidate, it means that they will go into the 2024 elections with a divided front, because the constituency executives would one way or the other sabotage his campaign because of the issues that have transpired. But then, Director of Elections or the Elections Directorate of the party is saying that that issue has not also formally come to their notice. And for that matter, they will not be able to sanction a rerun of the parliamentary primaries in that area until we have the full facts, of the issue. So today, the regional chairman, together with the executives, would be here. But at the moment, a few of them who are concerned from the Assin Central are here to actually also monitor what is happening here. So the functional executive committee of the party, led by the chairman of the party, Johnson Asedi Kutia, the election directorate, Dr. Mani Boama and Rashid Tanko Computer, together with Mahdi Jibril and other national executives of the party, national organizer, would also be in the meeting to quiz the regional executive regarding this decision, and whether that decision is in favor of the party. Remember, Lily, the party wants to win more seats in the central region because they lost a number of seats in that area during the 2020 elections, even though they won back a few. But then they wouldn't want to do anything that will compromise their chances of winning more seats in that area, Lily.
Okay. Have you cited supporters of Majima there who want to oppose the decision by the party?
Well, a few of them are here, and a few of them are actually cadres of the party. I've seen some senior cadres here who are also very much interested in the issue because, like I indicated, sources within here that I've spoken to briefly says that if he's withdrawn, then it means that the party will go into that election with a divided front, and which is no good for them. So that is the argument by a few members of the party who are here to support Majima. And then, but others who also believe that if they go in there with him, it is also going to cost the party their chances of winning the elections because the MPP who are their main opponents are going to use it against the candidate himself and then the party. So there's a divided, opinion here. But then at the end of the day, like I indicated, the party says that they are not going to make any adjudication on the matter. They are only going to listen to whatever the concerns are and then advise the regional executive. So I understand that Majima is not part of this. I understand that he would be engaged later also regarding the issue. So first of all, the party needs to engage with the regional executive and the regional functional executive committee who actually took a decision to suspend him for 6 months and then withdraw his candidature. So basically that is happening here. But like you asked, there are divided opinions as to whether there should be a rerun or Majima should be maintained for Assin Central for the NDC.
Okay. Hanan, thank you very much. That's Abdul Hanan Adam. He's my colleague in the newsroom. Greater Accra Regional Minister Daniel Nikwate Titus Glover is calling for concerted effort in making Accra the cleanest city. Addressing participants at the first day of the Homo cleanup exercise led by the government chair, His Royal Majesty King Takite Kuchuru II, Titus Glover detailed the deployment of approximately 1,500 member task force to enforce and uphold the standard of cleanliness.
Themed Unite to Clean, the Homo cleanup exercise led by His Royal Majesty King Takite Kuchuru II is to help in addressing environmental degradation and also keep Accra tidy. Speaking during the first day of the exercise, Greater Accra Regional Minister Daniel Nikwate Titus Glover appealed to residents to adhere strictly to sanitation bylaws and called for violators to face the full rigors of the law without external interventions.
We'll clean the beaches and few other places. Let us all put our shoulder on the wheel and make Accra the cleanest city once again. Our Safra Jama are here to support us. So please, as you watch me and as you listen to me, it is our duty to make sure Accra is clean once again. So this morning, we are ready to roll out. I want everybody to come on board and support us. And I believe that at the end of the day, we'll be able to sustain this.
Public Relations and Corporate Affairs Manager of GHOne, Ernest Morganakwa, who engaged the media during the exercise, also called on residents in the Accra metropolis to cultivate the habit of paying for the refuse they generate in their household and avoid hoarding them for such cleanup exercise.
We entreat all households to ensure that they clean their vicinities. And we should also know that we have to pay for the waste that we are generating. What we realize is that most people, they've hoarded the waste in their various homes and they are now bringing it out. So the question is, are they waiting for the next exercise so that they bring their waste? But that is not what we are saying. We want everybody to bring out its waste, then ensure that every day you bring out your waste, you pay for your waste.
Initiative spearheaded by the Greater Accra Regional Coordinating Council in collaboration with the Ga Traditional Council and supported by the Ministry of Local Government, Decentralization and Rural Development, Ministry of Sanitation and Water Resources, Ministry for Environment, Science and Technology and Innovation, and GHOne Ghana Limited is expected to run until August 20, 2024 before the annual Homowo Festival of the Guns.
Now, stakeholders in a recent workshop in Ga South are proposing a decentralized policy system and the active involvement of traditional authorities in waste management strategies, asserting that these measures are crucial for Ghana to effectively combat plastic waste. Participants emphasize that this innovative approach would not only reduce plastic waste, but also promote responsible and efficient use of resources.
With rapid global population growth and urbanization, annual waste generation is projected to surge by 73% from 2020 levels, reaching 3.88 billion tons by 2050. In Ghana alone, approximately 12,710 tons of solid waste are generated daily, but alarmingly, only 10% of this waste is collected and properly disposed of. Over the years, numerous methods and initiatives have been attempted to manage waste, yet none have achieved significant success. Now, the focus has shifted towards harnessing waste for economic opportunities through the adoption of alternative strategies.
Most of the time when we are in throw, for instance, after drinking our water, we throw the sachet in the throw or we throw it outside. All these things, if we were aware of what circular economy means and the consequences of this waste in our environment, can help us have a good understanding and how we can solve the problem.
A German academic exchange service, DAAD, alumni workshop titled From Trash to Gold explored accelerating the concepts of reduce, reuse, and recycle.
So the future is really bright because, like I said, Ghana has put in so much in place in terms of like policies and framework. We're the first African country to join the National Action Plan on Plastic, which was a major step for us.
By turning plastic waste into products like bags and furniture, they do not only reduce pollution, but also create jobs and support local economies.
The starting point is generally where you are with your understanding, where you are with your infrastructure, and where you are with your capability to deploy. And generally, the circular economy is not only about waste. It's certainly about eliminating waste by design, but it's certainly about reducing pollution and actually adopting regenerative practices.
The DAAD Alumni Annual Training Workshop brought together assembly members, fisher folks, teachers and students, waste managers and community members to collaboratively tackle waste management issues.
I think this is a very educational workshop. It is a step in the right direction. This is an issue that needs to be discussed, and I think that not enough is being said about how we manage our waste.
Stakeholders discussed the challenges and strength of the action plan and roadmap for achieving circular economy success across all sectors in Ghana.
I've seen in some other countries where municipalities are calling for such innovations because they bring the waste there and they are turning the waste to energy that is supplying electricity to the local community.
We are all doing something else which doesn't go according to the law, but who is to punish it? You even report to the police and they don't know why they should arrest somebody because the refuse is going to the sea.
Majority of the people are even aware of the consequences, yet because of their attitude, it's very difficult to desist from it.
A significant part of the workshop was the visit to Kokrobite Beach for hands-on experience in waste collection's best practice. By fostering a culture of sustainability and collaboration, the nation is setting an example for a greener and more prosperous future.
This is Newsroom. We are back with more stories after this breather. Do stay tuned in. Welcome back from that short break. It's now time for business. Now, technical advisor to the Minister of Finance, Dr. Abdul Ganiyu, says the recapitalization of the central bank is essential to the gradual recovery of the economy. In 2020, when the country's economy became fragile at the peak of the COVID pandemic, the central bank stepped in to cushion government. Dr. Ganiyu believes the recapitalization move is paramount at this movement.
Like the Bank of Ghana has been in some difficulty, largely on the back of the domestic, if you want, financial sector cleaning up.
That's exchange program?
It had to, no, not the exchange program, but basically banks that were supposed to be collapsing that required the Bank of Ghana to make some monetary interventions. It was around 60.9 billion if you put all of that together. So that was such a significant amount of money. The idea is to sign an MOU with the Ministry of Finance. The MOU should be able to look at how much money, for example, is required for the recapitalization. We should also be looking at the timelines, for example, so as far as the whole process is concerned and where this money is going to come from, the sources of funding. So those are the final details that are yet to be worked on, but very, very soon we should be able to come up with the MOU with the Bank of Ghana. That tells you that once the economy continues to improve, obviously you're going to find the money to do a lot of important things, and that would include recapitalizing your central bank, because that is extremely important. When we're caught in a difficult situation in dire straits, the Bank of Ghana did come to the rescue of this country. So now that things are beginning to look better, obviously we have to be able to find the money to recapitalize the Bank of Ghana, whichever way it is.
Still on plans to recapitalize the Bank of Ghana, economist Dr. Richmond is advising against the move. Dr. Etuahine advocates for the strengthening of government structures to prevent a recycle in the recapitalization menace. He spoke to Francis Aben on the State of Affairs last night.
This question and the biggest problem is what he's saying. Apportion blames to who did it is that it is neither here nor there. I will believe that let us not go back too much. Let us be more proactive. Proactive is that the laws must be really followed, strictly followed and complied with. Other than that, you're going to have this. You're going to have this all over and over again. If the law was 10%, then we change it to 5%. Now somebody has gone far more above that limit. Why? I know the agency is there. The agency for the COVID was there. But the question is that if you do that, you are putting your monetary policy in jeopardy.
So that was an interaction with Dr. Richmond Etuahine. He's a banking consultant on the back of recapitalization of the central bank. But let's still stay on the economy, because yesterday the finance minister mentioned that the $360 million which will hit our accounts from the IMF is a sign that the economy is on its way to recovery. But what do you think? Is the economy really on its way to recovery? Is it reflective in your pockets? Let's find out. And Nana quite standing by with your thoughts and comments. Nana, what are people saying?
Lily, people have a lot of strong opinions. Let's shoot straight into Facebook. Fred said he's happy to see the economy coming back to life again. Only thing left is the exchange rate and how we will get the prices of goods to come down. When we move over to Instagram, the same economy is asking, or you guys have some backup somewhere? Then we have here, Nebraska, after going to IMF and still got to pay crazy amounts to clear cars at the port, that does not add up. Then we have here, how much is the dollar, Mr. Man? Then we have Joe, we trust the country's future in the hands of the NPP. Nana says, guys, you're relaxed. The economy is back. It's just on vacation at the moment. Then we have here, Junior Yangson, is there another Ghana somewhere we are not aware of? Because then he's laughing there. Then here, Bello says, is the dollar back to 3.80 Ghana cedis? Then here, Danny says, oh, you guys need not talk plenty. December will speak for you. Then we move over to X. Benjamin says it's only in Ghana that finance ministers quote Bible verses instead of financial literacy. This country, he says, is doomed. Then we have here Ken Oforiata's handwriting. Then Abdullah says sinking deeper into debt. Well, that's what we have for you. My name is Nanama Akwa. Let's hope that, as the finance minister says, the economy will be back on track. Back over to Lily.
Okay. Thank you very much, Nanama. Interesting comments you have there. But let's still bring you some more business. Star Assurance Limited has signed a memorandum of understanding with Hope for Little Lives, a non-for-profit organization dedicated to providing pediatric surgeries to children in underserved communities in Ghana. As part of the MOU, Star Assurance pledged a contribution of 5 cedis for every Star Motor third-party extra policy sold to support Hope for Little Lives. There is more in the following report.
Star Assurance Limited has signed a memorandum of understanding with Hope for Lives, a non-governmental organization, to contribute 5 cedis for every Star Motor third-party extra policy sold. The Star Motor third-party extra policy is an enhanced third-party insurance policy that provides cover for the vehicle's windscreen, driving mirror, rear view mirror, and all other glass components. Through this partnership, Star Assurance aims to enhance the health and well-being of vulnerable children by ensuring they receive the critical medical attention they need for a brighter future. The Chief Executive Officer of Star Assurance, Boatima Bafwewa, stated that Star Assurance is thrilled to partner with Hope for Little Lives in this meaningful initiative.
By supporting Hope for Little Lives, we're not just providing the financial assistance, we are standing side by side with these brave children and their families, sharing in their struggle and their victories. This partnership allows us to see the faces of those we help, to hear their stories, and to celebrate their recoveries. It reminds us that our success as a company is not just measured by our financial achievements, but by the positive impact that we can have on the world around us. It connects us to a higher purpose and enriches our corporate spirit with compassion and empathy.
The founder and executive director of Hope for Little Lives, Dr. Mame Tichuabotwe, expressed gratitude for Star Assurance's support, explaining that it will be instrumental in providing life-changing surgeries to vulnerable children who would not otherwise have access to critical care.
I'm so grateful to you, Star Assurance, for supporting our initiative. I want to pledge and tell you that with God being on our side, we are going to go the extra mile. We are going to send hope to children in Ghana. We are going to put smiles to the faces of children in Ghana. I'm excited. Why don't you partner with us through Star Assurance, Star Motor Third Party Extra? When you buy this insurance, you are not only insuring your property, but you're sending hope to a child in an underprivileged community. Put a smile on the face of a child.
The signing ceremony marked a significant step forward in Star Assurance's ongoing commitment to corporate social responsibility. The collaboration with Hope for Little Lives highlights the company's dedication to supporting the health and well-being of Ghanaian communities.
Now, the Ghana Plastic Manufacturers Association will be embarking on a demonstration on Wednesday, July 10, 2024, to drum home their displeasure over the imposition of a 5% excise tax on all locally manufactured plastic products. According to the statement signed by the president of the association, Ebo Buche, the demonstration will begin at the Kwame Nkrumah Avenue through to the Accra Technical University and end at the Ministry of Finance. The association earlier in June threatened to halt production if its request for extensive consultation with the Ministry of Finance on the implementation of the excise tax is not met. Palestinians have been fleeing districts to the east of Gaza's second city of Khan Yunis after Israeli issued evacuation orders. Overnight and into the morning, witnesses reported multiple Israeli strikes in and around Khan Yunis. That's it for the bulletin. My name is Lily Mohammed. For more news updates, kindly log on to starfm.com.gh. Have a good afternoon.